Chase, we got with the blue futon. Out of the box or out of the wall, you ever want to call it, we now have Ghost Story, a movie. 1981, Universal Studios horror movie. Shout Factory. Sorry, Scream Factory. It was kind of the same company, so there we go with it. But is Ghost Story worth your time or money? Let's find out. So Ghost Story, what's it about? Let's be pretty simple with the synopsis because I don't want to give any spoilers away because there are some spoilers in this and I will not go into it. Pretty simple. 4 older gentlemen tell ghost stories. Are these ghost stories real or are they fake? Is there something haunting them from the past or is it all in their head? And that is the synopsis. Of course, we have more characters about these backstories of these ghost stories as well as one of the gentleman's sons are in it and someone gets tragically murdered. Who murdered him? Is it a conspiracy plot? Is it a ghost? Is it just all in their head? Let's find out. So what do I like about this movie? Or is it a good movie? I will say yes, to a point. I always like saying to a point. That's like my grain of salt. It's just to a point because this is a kind of a smart ghost story, if you want to put it that way, for 1981. At this time, you had the slashers, the Freddys, the Jasons, the Michael Myers. And this one is nothing like a slasher. It is a true ghost story. But that whole premise is kind of new to this era, and it had a nice vibe of these haunted house, of these different characters, of these different old men. Who are they? What are these backstories? Who is doing what? Who is real? Who is not? And it does make you second guess some things about what is happening. Even though you had that good premise of all these characters, and you're like, ooh, what is real? What's happening to them? Getting to that point doesn't make sense. The female character in this movie, you don't understand how, well, I guess you can understand. It's hard to say without giving spoilers, but I'll just say it's hard for her to do what she is doing and make it make sense. That's all I'll say, because you're seeing what's happening, like, okay, but you're thinking, how is she doing it? And they really don't explain it at all. You're supposed to kind of believe it. It's like a ghost story. So it's kind of like in the back burner of like, oh, that's happening. Because this tries to be more of an atmospheric film of like, ooh, what's happening in the background? Ooh, what's happening in this house? Who are these other characters? Which makes you realize there are 2 people that are in a mental asylum that kind of come in the picture, which also, you're like, how do they get involved? Like, what makes them connect to her and everyone else involved in this ghost story? So with that, you're just like, you have to put some disbelief in the back of your brain to understand, like, why are they there? Why are they there? How did that person do that? Doesn't make sense. But as a movie as a whole, it is actually enjoyable to watch, in my opinion. There's some good gore effects, good special effects, even for 81. This is mostly rated R for nudity. There's male nudity, there's female nudity. So that is why this is mostly rated R. Because I remember watching, I'm like, there's no really cussing in this movie. There's not really that much violence. I mean, there's some in the beginning and some deaths, but it's not like none of them are like graphic deaths. But then you realize, oh, there's a lot of boobs and there's some penises as well. So that is why it's rated R. But overall, Ghost Story, it is a good premise. It's a ghost story from the past, and you can tell there is some influence with newer movies that kind of take it from this one, because that's what you gotta say. It's like, oh, I've seen this a million times before, but you're thinking, did I see this a million times before after 81 or before 81? And I'm going to say a lot of it is after 81 because there is some good imagery, good cinematography in this movie. I think it's directed pretty well. It's acted really well as well. But it's just the story that you got to, kind of believe what's happening on screen. And either you're going to believe it or you're not going to believe it. So Ghost Story will receive a 3 out of 5 with futons, which equals at 60%. So see the Critics' News scores gave this one. Wow, so you have a critics at 35% with 20 of them. Audience score only at 43% with 5,000 of them and no critic consensus. I mean, Roger Ebert gave it a 3 out of 4, and that is a, 75%. I gave it a 60%, so there you go. Overall, though, like I said, if you want to watch a fun, interesting, and unique-looking horror film that has a decent story to it, it's a lot more of a backstory movie than a forward story movie, if that makes sense. But, yeah, good movie, but there are some plot holes for sure. So do you agree with that? 35, the 43 are my 60. Chase Talking the Boof Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you Boof Topia, you Booftonians. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Peace and love, peace and love. Make sure there's no ghost behind you.